Je luistert naar Haarlem 105 en nu is het tijd voor Love on Air. Sorry, dat is een beetje te veel energie. Samen met Handan, mijn naam is Philly en we hebben hele leuke gasten toch, Handan?
Yes, we hebben hele leuke gasten. We hebben hier Jessica en Sandrine hebben we hier. En Jessica en Sandrine hebben een prachtig boek geschreven. Maar jullie doen heel veel samen, hè, Jessica en Sandrine. Maar we zouden in het Engels gaan, of niet?
Ja, we kunnen in het Engels of in het Nederlands.
Ja, dus misschien moeten we
zijn heel goed in Nederlands, maar wij zijn wel gewend om samen te werken in het Engels. Dus especially this project, I think, would be better to express it in English.
Oké. So we'll do it in English.
If you don't mind.
Maar als ik me niet kan uiten, dan mag dat wel gewoon in het Nederlands.
We verstaan alles.
Oké, cool.
We doen alles een beetje zo...
English for English. Sandrine is Frans.
Maar het ging om het boek. De boek. Vaginas Untold. Daar wilden we eigenlijk mee beginnen. Want, nou ja, maar eerst misschien wat over jullie. Wie zijn jullie en wat doen jullie en waarom? En,
vertel even wat meer over jullie zelf. Ja, ik ben benieuwd.
Sandrine, your turn.
Okay, so we are creative partner, Jessica and I. We are a creative duo, and we've been working together for a very long time.
What is a long time?
Like 15, 16 years.
Wow, that is a long time. Okay.
I used to be a client at Philips and Heineken, and then we got so close that we decided to be a creative duo together. And I joined her in an agency, Cloud Factory, and then from there we evolved and we started doing commercial projects. But then this was our first artistic project together. So this is a very special project for us.
Yeah.
And a very good friendship as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. Working together as creatives, you need to kind of have that. But it's also very special because in Holland, many ad agencies, I think we were the only one that were owned by women. And what made it quite special. And also the duo we have, that having a client, creative, that coming together and becoming a very creative team, very strong creative team.
Right.
It's quite special. So we had a journey together.
It's quite the same that we have, right, Handan?
That's what I wanted to say. We know each other also about 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a friend. It's not just a friendship. It's like between friendship and marriage.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that. he got his own thing. But
yeah.
All right.
We've owned companies together. We own a company together. And so that's also, then you have it's also different.
Well, the company that you have together is like more of a marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it is.
Yeah, we make
definitely.
our money together. We're responsible for each other's income and... we have each other's backs. If one is down, the other has the other.
You're each other's ride or die, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely.
Okay.
That's good.
It goes a bit further than a normal marriage. I think. Actually. No
that's
sex,
what I mean. It's not a marriage thing. You know, that's what I mean. It's more like I don't know. It's more like a very good friendship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Very good. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so special. Nice too. But Sandrine, you are French.
Yes.
What do you do in Holland?
Well, I've been living here for half my life, actually. So I moved here for love. And
you fell in love when? Because this is Love on Air, so we want to know. When did you fall in love?
When?
Details,
oh my God.
girl. Come on, details.
How many years do I have to go back? Actually, I came to Amsterdam for a weekend, like 23 years ago, and I stayed here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, not immediately, but after a year I came here. And I have 2 kids, and they are French and Dutch.
Oh, nice.
And I still feel very French though, but Amsterdam is my home.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Was it difficult to make a different transition to Amsterdam?
Yes, because I used to live in Dublin, and in Dublin people are extremely friendly and warm, and I found the Dutch people a little cold at the beginning, but not anymore. And it took me a lot of effort to learn the language, and even ik kan Nederlands spreken voor kletsen en gesprekjes, maar voor werk vind ik niet zo leuk.
Right.
And
nice.
When you fell in love immediately, basically, where do you come from in France?
I come from Nantes, so it's just under Brittany on the west part of France. But then I was living in Ireland for 2 years. I just didn't want to stay in France after my studies. So I went to Ireland, and then I met the Dutch guy in Amsterdam. So then I moved countries after 2 years.
Well, I lived in Montpellier for like a year because I wanted to go to France for a long time. So but I didn't. France didn't really work out for me.
Yeah, but Holland worked out for me.
Exactly. And you, Jessica?
Well, I'm half English, half Dutch.
Echt waar?
But I've never lived in the UK. But I've always seen it as a benefit, because I've nearly always worked in international business. So in that sense, it gave me also opportunities to work internationally. It's very easy for me.
So you have family in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you travel a lot too.
No, my mom, she moved here for love.
So she moved it. Okay.
What's going on here?
Dutch guys are so attractive.
I know, man. I know.
I
We are
know.
something else. I'm
No, my
telling you.
parents met in New York, and they in the 60s, and then
They
she
met
moved
in
to,
New York in the 60s.
Yeah, my mom.
One came from UK and one came from Holland.
Yeah, from Valkenswaard, and and then my mom, my aunt told me the other day, I will never forget the day your mom arrived. She was wearing this mini skirt and her haar opgestoken and these high boots, and we were all wearing these skirts over our knees, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is this? This will never last." They never thought she was too different. She worked in the fashion industry in New York.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
But then in those days, you choose for a husband, and they're still together, very happy. We have a really great family, and I go to
nice.
Brabant a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it's
but now you found each other, basically, as what you told us, and then this is your first project together. So for people, if you are watching us, the book is in the middle. It's a very beautiful book, Vaginas Untold. Why?
Shall I just start and then you jump in?
I'll pitch in. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, we, as Jessica said, being a creative duo as women in the advertising industry, you kind of have to empower yourself a little bit to survive. It's a quite masculine world, and I think the two of us, we really felt like giving back a little bit to other girls. So we really felt, the two of us, that we empower each other. And we are pretty confident as well, in general, in our craft and ourselves. And we also felt it would be really nice to give something back. So we were looking for a project that would bring that to life. And then one day somebody asked us, "Are you feminist?" And we both said no.
Oh.
But that was a while ago, and we were like, "We're not those kind of women." Exactly. But we were like, "No." And then afterwards we thought, of course we are. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
And then we thought, but it's because now it has changed a lot in the last few years, but this project, we had it in our head for 5 years before the book came out. So that's quite a while ago. That was 7 years ago. And at the time, feminism was not always super positive, and we didn't want to come across, because we are very happy to be women, and we're not especially behind a more aggressive movement, I guess, or more negative. We
And
felt
we love working with guys. We work with guys all the
we
time.
also
I
love guys.
know.
Only women is also not a good idea. So
No,
so we
but
didn't want to be
that's
this
not
like
but
feminist was like about
but that's
man
not
hate.
what feminism is about. But
No,
okay.
No, it's
But
about
that was at the
equality.
time our reaction, and we thought,
Yes.
let's do something beautiful in the name of feminism, because we want feminism to be actually a very positive and empowering thing, instead of having a negative image. And again, things have changed a lot in the last 7 years, and we really felt like we are in that movement of showing how beautiful, powerful women are.
So can you tell me a little bit about that negative image you just talked about?
Yeah, we feel sometimes, because we also, so there's not that many women in our industry, we feel sometimes that you have to fight to get your place, and we both felt we don't want that anymore.
As a woman, right?
Yeah, as a woman, and we felt, to get the power, you have to be tough, and you don't, and it's beautiful.
You have to
and
imitate
tough.
the man.
Yes,
Right.
and also we felt that you have to almost to choose between being feminine and being feminist, and we didn't feel that we
Right.
should choose.
Right.
I feel very feminine, and I
Right.
think Jessica as well, and we didn't want to choose, so that's why we felt,
Let's create
Maybe-
a third option.
Feminine, feminist.
yeah, and bring them together.
Yeah.
And make something that's both very feminine, and you see the cover is pink. We had a lot of debate about that. So cliche, but yet
No, but pink
we
is
just love
beautiful,
pink.
Yeah, we love pink.
Yeah, but why not purple? Why not like Another color then.
Pink is it's a very soft color.
It's
very
feminine,
warm
right?
and soft.
It's very
So
soft.
it's not
color.
flamingo pink we picked. It's
No.
very sophisticated pink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting,
chic.
interesting.
It's
Yes,
nude.
yeah, it's a nude
Yeah.
pink. It's not a harsh pink. Yeah, but go on. So vaginas,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the story goes
You want
on.
to-
Yeah, I also what we also notice, even though this book, a lot of women in there are very extremely successful women, they are also very insecure, and it's always and they're already successful. Women in general tend to be very quickly insecure, and we thought let's do an act of transgression, as we call it. Is that if you do something, like for instance, take a picture of your vagina, if you would dare to do that, then you can stand in front of any boardroom, because that is then nothing compared to that. And that already says something, Why are we so uncomfortable with our vaginas? It's really strange, actually. And I had a red head for, I think, at least a week. Like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this idea. But, okay, yes, it's very uncomfortable for me also. And that I find that actually not cool, that I'm uncomfortable with that subject.
Right.
So we should do something about it. Let's just go right in it. So then we started, Sandrine started interviewing a lot of women around us, first close friends and clients. And once people agree to do this project, once you agree to say, okay, I'm going to step naked in front of a camera, and we promise them we're going to make something really beautiful, we're going to make it look amazing. So that it's very hard if you don't have any examples to convince women. So, but once they agree to do it, they would suddenly tell all their vulnerabilities and things. And then we were really in shock what we learned from our friends and clients, their stories. And like, wow, why didn't you ever tell me this? And it was really, then we realized we were onto something.
Yeah.
So it was a bigger thing. It became a bigger thing. And it was a process about taboos. It's about taboos we don't talk about. And there's a taboo around the vagina.
Can you tell one? Like, for an example, I'm a man in this whole discussion. And to be honest, I represent all dumb men who don't know shit about this
Books
subject.
also, it's education for everybody. But,
Exactly. Well, some men are like, they know a little bit more about like vagina and the vulva. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They think
vulva.
that-
we call it a lot of time. I mean, we just learned we have to call it the vulva.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had that question, by the way, on vulva, vagina. Why didn't we call it vulva?
Right.
Because what we show is the vulva, not the vagina. But
Exactly.
for us, it's because it goes into the secret place that you don't see.
So there's a difference between the vagina and the vulva?
Yes.
Oh my,
Yes.
for real. You have to imagine, I come from,
Sorry.
I'm 38 years old and I used to call it pussy, just simple pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now I have to call it vulva.
Well,
Really?
no,
It's
well,
called pussy. What's
Pussy,
wrong with
you
that?
can still call it pussy.
I can say, okay, yes.
Yes, of course.
I mean,
You're not a doctor or something, right? You can call it whatever.
but vulva is like the nice word for it, I think. And,
The polite one.
I think
Yeah.
vagina, but you can say it also, but vagina is sometimes more medicalized.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
But what we liked is that there was the secret part, the invisible part
Exactly,
in the vagina.
that's vagina,
And
yeah.
those were,
Right.
it went really well with the taboo idea.
Right.
That there's, so you were asking stories in there. There's people we work with for several years
Right.
that once they started agreeing to take their portrait,
Right.
then they start all by saying, oh, I don't have a story. Well, everyone has a story.
Everybody has a story.
And then when you start digging a little deeper, you learn stuff about people that you see every day that you thought actually you knew well and have very deep secret, like someone we work with for 2 or 3 years and we discovered she had anorexia.
Oh, wow.
And she never talked about it. And
No.
that became my monster because she called it in the interview, my monster.
Right.
So she
and-
called her vulva, vagina, my
No,
monster?
no.
Anorexia.
Oh, the
And then we made a
anorexia.
portrait.
Okay.
We made a portrait based
Oh.
on that thought. But
Okay.
so this is what Jessica was saying is that a lot of women, and it's probably also true for men, but a lot of women have they limit themselves because they have taboos or things they don't want to share, and
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to do with those portraits.
But what's the connection with the vulva then?
Because the biggest taboo is that about being a woman. The vagina is a huge taboo in Japan. You can't even mention the word. Use the word.
Right. Yeah.
It's
down there.
It's down there. It's like
but people would always say down there.
Yeah. You have like down like
down there. Everybody knows what you mean. So why don't you call it what it is?
I mean, with the guy, you never say down
it's
there.
just penis.
Well, we say, can you go down there for us? Like we say, like never mind.
What?
Anyway, we don't know what you mean.
Scratch that. Could you go down for me? Like that's what we say, right?
Yeah, but okay.
Go down
of course.
on me.
That's also
Right.
going down on a woman. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You want me to go down?
But there is a huge taboo. There's a huge taboo around the vagina, and we thought it was a good connection to, because it started like that, and then we discovered all these other taboos around being a woman. So this book is really about insecurities and taboos around being a woman today.
I found very interesting that the taboos are very linked to something like the vulva.
But first it was a way to represent the taboos. So because we didn't want to just do the same portraits to everyone, know, and do like what you see some artists in the past have done some things about the vulva, which were like, just the naked truth.
Yeah.
We wanted to bring each personality, like when you do a portrait of a woman, of her face, you accessorize, you make it try to capture her identity. That's what we wanted to do. So then it started more as, let's make a portrait that's very personal and very beautiful and represent who she is.
Right.
And then once we started hearing about their stories and their taboos, then each portrait became the representation of a taboo and a very intimate story.
It's like the one on the cover is a friend of ours, and she hates her vagina. She thinks it's super ugly, and we think it's the most beautiful picture.
Okay, so people who are tuned in are very curious. I am curious right now. So
I am like trying to put it on Facebook and everything. So,
but can I show the book
yes,
right now?
Of course.
Like,
you can, if you can just.
Kan je me die even aangeven alsjeblieft? Want dan gaan we het even heel primitief even zo laten zien. Want mensen begrijpen misschien niet zo goed wat de bedoeling is, zeg maar hier. Dus ik ga nu even dat boek erbij pakken. Mensen, als je nu jonger bent dan... Nee, grapje. Oké, dus dit is het boek. Even kijken of ik die camera op mij kan krijgen.
Dan moet je praten.
Ja, ik heb hem hier op mijn camera. Oké, dus dit is het boek. En als ik hem openmaak, dan zie je dus allerlei afbeeldingen. Wat dus... Dit zijn allemaal portretten dus.
I like this one a lot.
Ja, de surfplank is...
Dit is inderdaad een hele mooie. Inderdaad. Ja. Kijk of ik het nog een keer op mij kan krijgen. Die camera. 1, 2, 3. Kom op. Yes.
Yeah, this is about a girl. She was raped when she was 17. And through surfing, she reconnected with her body.
Wow.
And fell. And that was at the age of 23 or 24. And then she fell in love with her surf teacher. And with sunset, that's why she's in golden paint, she kissed for the first time again. So it's really quite a romantic... intense story. Someone we work with, and we also didn't know this story about her.
Maar if you say like someone we worked with, how was that then? How did you work together?
We were her boss.
Yeah, right.
That's what we do, we recruit our vagina's portrait through work. And
First show me your
everybody could volunteer. She really actually wants to be part of the project because, of course, a lot of women in our company didn't participate.
So, I find this one very interesting.
It's
and
about
please
menopause,
do tell
a big
me.
taboo, which women don't talk about.
Yes.
It's about
This is a woman soaked in blood, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the menopause is women don't talk about it together, and it's this is a woman. She had a very intense experience of menopause and bleeding for a month. Huge amounts.
9 weeks, actually.
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
Non-stop.
Which is quite common, right?
No,
No, it's not common, but it
was
happens.
a bit extremes, but it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about these things. And then suddenly she was confronted with this. And it was a very, very intense experience. Actually, this shoot was very intense because she found it... Some of these women are really had to cross their boundaries to be able to take this
Are you saying this is real blood?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
I'm just saying.
But still, it is symbolically was a very difficult journey for her.
Yeah.
And taking her portrait was part of that journey. And it was also a very intense experience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, like also there's one story in there about a woman, and she's someone we know quite well. And we didn't know she was a mom, but she had to flee from Mexico because she was so abused. She had to flee for her life and had to leave her children behind. She's never seen them again. I mean, she put a love letter in scars on her body in the picture,
right?
Which is extremely like so she also had to cry during the shoot because it was so intense to do this.
Of course.
For her.
Of course.
But there's also someone who is a lawyer now here in Amsterdam, and we don't know these stories about some people.
Oh, wow.
And if you carry this with you, if you share more things, sometimes it can also help.
Of course.
You know that.
It can like free you basically.
Free you.
But you guys also wrote. You girls also wrote something next to it in French and in English.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful. But I didn't read that yet. But what is that?
Yeah, so first we were not intending to write anything, but the deeper we got into the project, the more we thought it's not just about the portrait, it's about the story. So for each of the portraits, we decided we should have a text that comes and brings the story to life, so that people that watch the portrait can also understand a little bit better.
Yeah.
What that portrait is about, and then I didn't want to write something that would be just documentary style, because the portraits are very beautiful, and then so I decided to write something that's more rhythmic and poetic. And then one of the first portraits I wrote is a very close friend of mine from Paris, and it came in French. I didn't plan it, but it just came out in French. So I said to Jessica, is it okay if I write first in French and then in English? And she was fine. She was like, oh yeah, French anyway is the language of love and elegant. And so we decided, okay, let's just do it in French and English. And for each of them, then I use sometimes some of their words. I inspire myself of some songs that they reminded me, and I use also their personality. So some women in there are maybe a little bit more soft-spoken and sensitive. So I tried also the writing to be reflecting to their personality. And some are a bit more, like full of power and a little bit provocative. And then the language is also reflecting that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, we wanted women to recognize themselves, because it's also very personal. And once you decide to do this, then you also want to be happy with the results. So we really did our best to make everybody as beautiful as possible.
Yeah.
But it's not like we did a lot of retouching either. So women are beautiful. We just have to everybody has to find an angle that that works for.
This is just raw beauty.
Yeah, all women are beautiful. There's people in there from all sizes.
Yeah. Okay,
that's
so
really nice.
let's go to the tune. I need some time to just like digest a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm not that fast. Je luistert naar Haarlem 105. This is Love on Air.
Welcome to the dawn. You have just
Haarlem 105 en dat was Pussy Control van Prince. En dat is eigenlijk ook het onderwerp waar we vandaag over hebben, toch Handan?
Yes, en ik vond het zo bijzonder dat je meteen dat nummer erbij vond, moet ik wel eerlijk zeggen.
Ja.
Dat je meteen kwam met dat nummer van Prince.
Dat is gewoon mijn muzikale begaafdheid gewoon.
Maar kende jij dat nummer dan?
Ja, ik kende dat wel.
That's serious.
Dat ken ik wel.
Terwijl je toch niet zo'n hele Prince-lover bent?
Ik ben een hele goede Prince-lover.
Toch wel?
Tadaa!
Serious?
Ja,
I never knew that.
Ik ook. Ik ben ook niet heel zijn concerten geweest.
Ja,
fantastisch.
Ik ook.
Who doesn't love Prince? Come on, huh?
Er zijn mensen die dat niet zo vinden, volgens mij. Maar goed, maar we hebben twee hele leuke mensen hier. En je hoort er al Jessica aan de ene kant, Sandrine aan de andere kant, die het boek hebben geschreven, Vaginas Untold. Of eigenlijk een boek hebben geschreven. Het is eigenlijk meer een soort fotoboek, zou ik het noemen. En het is meer een project geworden dan een boek schrijven.
Ja.
Toch?
Ja.
En het is... En het project, ik moet eerlijk zeggen, elke keer als ik er naar kijk, mijn hoofd slaat elke keer op hol, waardoor ik denk van, misschien moeten we ook nog dit en misschien moeten we ook nog dat, misschien moet er ook nog een tentoonstelling zijn. Hebben jullie dat al gehad? Want sinds wanneer is dit boek er? And we can do it in English right away.
We had of course a launch of the project on International Women's Day the weekend before Corona hit our country. For the weekend, that was the weekend before the first lockdown.
Is it 2020?
Yeah. So this is when we launched it, and since then a lot of things have happened. So we haven't spent too much time on it anymore. But it's of course a very special project. We would like it to travel, and we also feel it's not finished because it's really, it's a document about women in our bubble. But imagine going to other countries or other parts of the world.
Yes.
And we would really love that because we also, for instance, shared it with someone in Chile, a friend of ours. And at first she was very skeptical. She's very Catholic. And she was not very sure about our project. And then her assistant at the time was also with me when I shared it with her. And she suddenly told this very intimate story about something. And she was in shock, and that she said, like, why you never told me this? And we worked together for 7 years, but this book triggered that story to tell it.
About it.
She felt like she could come forward to tell it, and then she suddenly realized how powerful it could be, and especially in South America. That's I think it's a very machista part of the world, and I think I think she said it's going to be dangerous actually to probably present that book here, but.
That's what she thought, that it was dangerous to do that there.
Yeah, well, it's also made me thinking like, there's probably so many parts in the world where there's so many taboos about being a woman, and that we don't share that. And it's interesting to think about or to dream about continuing the project in other parts, and then doing a big exhibit tour. Mm-hmm. Maybe shoot some extra portraits in certain countries and then add them to the exhibit.
Yeah.
Something like that would be amazing to do one day.
Would be a very good idea.
And I think so. Because we will learn a lot also from other cultures, what they struggle with, women there. And
What are like the things that are from a man point of view? Because a lot of perspective things are because of the men, right? It's the way that we view the women and the way that we view the vulva, which has a very profound influence on, how we coexist in this society. What are the things that is very important for men to understand in this project?
About the vulva, you mean?
About the vulva, about this whole thing and the thing that you're trying to achieve.
I think it's not about the vulva on zich, but I think it's really about that respecting women's vulnerabilities and empowering them to...
Well, that alone is a very... This is a very hard thing to do sometimes for a man.
It maybe is. Yeah, I think it's also very hard to what is everybody's place in society these days. I think men and women do struggle with this.
And this too is changing, right?
We're in the middle of that, I think.
Yeah.
We're shaping it for our future generations.
Right.
It's super interesting, and it's important that we discuss things. And But one thing we will always know, and which I think we will never be able to change, is that men and women don't always understand each other, which is fine. We have to keep some mystery,
it's a thing like we do not understand each other. It's like
but that's fine. That's fine.
That's it.
I think it's just
sometimes, all the time.
But I think for women, it's also sometimes they easily step back, and I think we want women to step up,
right,
and empower themselves. Empower each other. We also think women can. We have so many special women around us that really we help each other. It's really nice. So it's. I think this book is also about this. It's a gift from us, to other women.
But not to men, then.
Not per se.
Right.
No, but I think if men read it, we have a few of our friends who read it, and they also found it very interesting to read.
Right.
So if men are open to learn, then they should read it. Why not?
It's not excluding them.
We didn't do it for men, but if men want to read it, then no problem. Because we do think that women could also be more open towards each other and towards men. So there is a few of them, for example, about there's one portrait about the first time, and it's a girl who said. The only thing I learned about my first time before I did it was be careful, don't be pregnant, don't get a disease. It's my responsibility.
Right.
And she was with her boyfriend already for a while, but she didn't like it because she was so about the restriction and the limitation and the fear. And he knew his body better. And she didn't, and so she found it a pity, and that was her legacy to other girls. Say, know your body before you do it for the first time.
Right.
There's another portrait about masturbation. It's everybody knows guys masturbate all the time. Girls, it's a little less open, So why don't we talk about it together?
It's a little less open, and there are even women who don't do it.
Yes.
So, and we all know that, but we don't know any guys who I mean, who don't masturbate. I
Yes.
mean, this,
Yeah.
All guys masturbate.
all guys masturbate, but not all women,
Yeah.
which is very strange.
And it is a taboo, and
Yeah.
it's about talking about it. Also for mother-daughter, we had in the exhibition, we had a mother and daughter sitting together reading the book. I think that's fantastic. Like let's talk to your daughters. Let's. I have a daughter, and I've talked to her about those portraits and those stories, and it has opened a new conversation between me and her.
Right.
But also with my mom and my grandmother.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother said, "Oh, if you need a portrait of an older woman, I'm ready for it." She's 92.
Wow.
And actually, I thought maybe we should do it. You know, we were finished when that came out, but I gave a copy to my mom for Christmas.
Like, how does it feel to photograph? Oh, wow.
I would
to
love
make a
to do
photo
that.
of your grandmother.
Yeah, man, my grandmother is like super cool. She would totally do it.
She is super cool.
Yeah. And my mom said she would also do it. And I could have never had that conversation with my mom 10 years ago.
Well, let's talk about second volume then. Right?
Yes, we want to do a second volume.
But
Needs
it's a
to
very
be
limited,
yeah.
By the way, put the book
Yes.
So
straight
it's
up.
a limited edition, I think, at this moment, but also because of Corona, but because this could be a beautiful exhibition.
Yeah.
To exhibit this somewhere would be so cool to do that,
definitely.
and to also get the conversation going. Because I am also I work with a very nice organization also, who works with all women and who coaches women who are in secondary schools or like at university, coach girls who are 13, 14 years old. This could be a great example for that.
Yeah.
To get the conversation
And
going.
it's also nice that it's very comfortable to look at. So, because when we did our research on vaginas, we were like, oh, or it was medical or it was porn, and that was the only reference we could find. And there were no beautiful images. Only in Musée d'Orsay, there's a very beautiful one, The Origin of the World. But,
yes, exactly. Yeah, The Origin of the
it's
World.
beautiful.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which is I love that title for that vagina painting. And but yeah, that was the only reference. So it's also really nice that you can actually really look at different vaginas and I didn't realize that they all looked so different and also similar in a way also.
Yeah, they all look similar and different.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's no ugly one.
No,
we
of course,
didn't, and we didn't of course cast. We didn't cast vaginas. We just went with the stories.
No, that
and we
will
made,
be awkward, right? How to cast a vagina?
No,
Yes,
but
very
I do know women who do all kinds of, like, I don't say mutilate. I don't want to say mutilate, but they I don't even want to call it. They make it more beautiful. How do I say that? They
do
cut
plastic
you can do
surgery.
surgery.
That's what I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
They
yeah.
do plastic
a lot of
surgery.
requests for this is out there now. It's quite normal to ask for it. My
Yes.
house doctor friend, she's a woman, said, you have no idea how often I get that request. But what is their reference? What have they seen? Why is theirs not beautiful?
Right.
Because of porn.
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah, porn
Yeah.
is a reference.
And what exactly do they request then?
Or Botox? Or they make
Shorter lips.
or shorter lips?
Right.
The vulva lips.
Yeah.
Right.
To cut them.
The
Yeah.
vulva lips.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
And
instance,
the thing about cutting the vulva lips is, as you know, since last Saturday,
Right.
the zwellichamen, how do you say that? I don't even know how to say
Swollen
zwellichamen.
bodies.
You can say swollen bodies. Zwellichamen.
Sometimes direct translation just won't do it.
Right.
But
What
to
is the
cut
Dutch
the-
thing? We're
Yeah,
cute because of this.
But to cut the vulva lips would mean that you cut also a lot of pleasure away. It would mean the same as cutting like the sides of the of the penis away.
Again, could you repeat that? What?
Well, if you cut the vulva lips,
Yeah.
then you cut a lot of your pleasure away.
Of course,
and
yeah.
it's the same as if you would cut the sides of the penis away.
The sides.
The sides of the penis, yes, the sides. You know, like a penis. Like if this would be a penis, then you would take these sides off. God.
Yeah. So not a good idea.
Ik laat je echt uitpraten hoor. Ik vind het echt knap. Heftig.
He just does that on purpose.
So exactly.
That's
a
crazy.
bit
Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you? Yeah, I don't
No,
understand.
but this is like this is the third thing that women ask. I think of plastic surgery. It is the third plastic surgery thing that
most requested
A
plastic
lot of
surgery
women are
things.
so
right.
insecure about their vagina, that's a huge problem if you want to be intimate with someone.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, if you see the cover, we already mentioned it before, but this girl, she has a perfect body, and she says, I can do something about my entire body, but I cannot do it about
Cannot
my
train.
vulva. I cannot do anything about it, except indeed going plastic surgery, which she didn't want to do.
Right.
So she spent her first 30 years hating a vagina.
Oh, that's heavy.
really strongly,
That is
yeah.
heavy.
And then we said, we're going to put you on the cover.
but she had to cry when she found
Wow.
out. When she saw her portrait, this was the most uncomfortable shoot. Most shoots were really fun, and we had like a visagist and a stylist, and we had really nice women, female crew. We had a lot of fun with motion, but it was hard for her. You could really see she was struggling, but she was, I have to do this. And we also had to say, wow, you're so beautiful. I made a huge effort to make sure it's like a diamond shape, the most precious, most beautiful
Right.
piece.
Yeah.
And I really find it like this Dutch painting light.
yes, it looks like a
I
painting.
really wanted to
Yeah.
make the most beautiful picture for her because she hates it so much. She finds it ugly. And when she was with her boyfriend, the lights have to be off. I was like, I really feel bad about that.
And just for the viewers, can you just describe the cover? Because it's a mirror, right?
Yeah, she has a mirror in between her legs and a pear-shaped diamond, which is then it's gespiegeld. It's mirrored.
It's a reflection, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
because what we also said is that the more you look at it, the more you know it, the more you learn to appreciate it. There's also a lot of women who do not look. You have to take the mirror and look at it. Like guys, it's just hanging there.
Yeah.
You see it
We
all
see it
the
all the
time.
time, right?
But for women, you have to put a bit more effort. And if you do not want to look at it, it's quite easy to just ignore it and never look at it. So that's why we also encourage, when we launched the book, we also had a chair with a mirror in it, which if someone wanted to use it, they were welcome to try. But it was also to trigger women thinking, just take a mirror and look at it.
Right.
Because that's how you get to know yours, and that's how you get to like it.
By the way, just an idea, random idea. Is there such a thing as a vulva mirror?
Yes.
Well, you can have a
Use
I don't
any
know.
mirror.
You can use
Yeah,
any
a
mirror.
hand
Especially
mirror.
shaped mirror,
But I
which
think
is...
No, it might exist. I
Cycle
don't know.
Care, they sell a
Hand mirror, but they are hand
But a
mirrors.
special hand mirror for that.
For the vagina.
But in the shape of a vulva, I don't know.
Right, okay.
No,
okay.
in
It
the
might
shape, no.
exist somewhere.
Maybe.
I think that would be
It's too gimmicky. Yeah.
amazing idea.
Nobody. I mean,
Why?
women are still ashamed of their vulvas.
Well, okay. Yeah, I understand that. I can
Really?
truly understand that. Right. Yeah.
That's like the whole thing, you know. That's like, I mean, I know friends which I've told, like, would you should take a mirror and look at your vulva, and they said, are you crazy? That's how they start, and I understand you completely why you've done this project.
Actually, when we had the idea, the two of us, then we said, let's take a picture of each other's, and then look and then start getting, because if we're going to have to do it with a lot of women, we better start with us.
Yeah, and we're like,
Right.
oh, God,
And
I
then-
can't believe we're doing this.
Then we started taking pictures and say, oh my God,
Very
I'm not
awkward.
sure. I want
Very
to show
awkward.
it. But we had to go through that. It was part of the process.
Het is heel taboe doorbrekend inderdaad. Ja.
Something, is
God.
it in France different? Because it seems to me that the French are a little bit more, since Napoleon said, to his lover, like, don't wash yourself for the, I don't know, week or something because I'm coming, whatever he said.
Yeah, but French love to talk about sex. It's different.
Oh,
We talk
okay.
a lot about sex, but doesn't mean that you talk about as a woman. It's different. As a woman, you don't really necessarily talk about your vulva and how it looks and show it to each other. You don't do that.
So there's a profound difference between sexuality and sex.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Even in
Because
France.
I think that in France they're more open, or there is a different vibe when it's around sexuality.
Yeah, but it's more about the act of sex. We love talking about sex a lot, but it's very different than really knowing your body and not feeling ashamed of it. I think also as a woman in France, your appearance is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And then hence the shame of if you don't like your vulva, you might actually be ashamed of it.
So it's the same, basically.
I think it's quite the same with...
and how about
I
the
think
UK?
the Dutch, they're all naked in saunas, right, and stuff.
Right.
We don't do that in France. It's separated
Oh, yeah,
between
that's
men and
true.
women.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, so we love talking about it. It's
Yeah.
different.
And how about the UK? Do you know that?
The UK is quite prude, huh?
Right.
They don't even have saunas.
Actually, I think you're right. Could be. I'm not sure.
They don't have saunas where you can go nude.
No,
Yeah.
but that of course is
No.
very. But they don't have that in France either.
No, well, it's
Oh, you
separated.
don't have that in
it's
France also?
separated.
Oh,
So
okay.
women with women and
Yeah, yeah.
men
Well,
with
I guess it's a Dutch thing then.
I think
No,
so.
I
Well, it
think
was a
Sweden.
discussion.
And, I think
Sweden
German
has it,
is
yeah.
also like that.
Sweden, Germany, Denmark, those countries have it.
But
yeah.
not in
Yes.
France and not in the UK. No naked nude saunas.
Not
yeah,
together.
but not mixed. We're mixed. So you said
In the UK, you mean?
no Holland.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And,
How did it- yeah,
Denmark and
true.
Sweden and Germany, but not in UK. Definitely not. But also, then I think even you have to sit with a bathing suit if it's only
Of course,
women.
right.
I think
Yeah.
even with
Yes.
women.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, even with women, there's with the bathing
Badpak aan.
suits. Yeah.
No,
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so we can say that in France they love to talk about sex, not necessarily sexuality. In the UK, it's
Very prude.
very prude. The UK don't talk about
Much,
sex.
much
and-
more hidden.
Right.
Yeah.
More of a taboo.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it like equal as in Japan? Taboo?
No.
Japan is like number
It's
one,
next
right?
level,
yeah. Okay.
Level taboo.
And there's this one artist there. She makes from her vagina or from her vulva. She makes art pieces,
Right.
and she's been in jail already 3 times
You gotta be kidding me.
because she has these little statues, porcelain statues of her
She
vagina
even
with
made
this
a
whole.
canoe.
She made a canoe out of her 3D printed canoe. She 3D scanned her vulva and then made a canoe, and she was canoeing in her vagina. I love it.
Amazing.
But
Amazing.
she got arrested 3
Amazing.
times already, and really.
She is a pioneer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Right.
cannot stand that it's illegal to do
Right,
this kind
right.
of things.
Going back to the surgery, right? Where do women go for these kind of surgeries? Is this happening in the Netherlands, in France, in the UK, in
Everywhere.
Belgium?
It's just normal plastic procedures.
Normal, like
Normal.
Like
It's the
coating.
third one in plastic procedures.
you can go anywhere in the world and do.
No, I guess, but I think most plastic surgery places have.
It's
a
like one
doctor
of
for
the
it.
easiest plastic surgeries that you can do.
Like I'm imagining if you want to do plastic surgery, you go to Turkey.
No.
No,
Oh, we have one here.
we have one here in the
Many
Netherlands.
in Amsterdam.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. All right. Heftig.
The funniest thing is Philip on my side, who's that's the
He's a bit
funniest.
behind on this one.
I'm not ashamed of my curiosity. I don't know shit. I don't care.
Good. That's
Good.
good.
Yeah, but I represent a lot of men, to be honest, right?
I think you do. That is true.
Right.
I think you do. But let me go a little bit further. So we talked a bit about the beautiful poems that you put next to it. Would you care to read one of those poems?
Yeah, I can read one. So, in French or English?
I like it in French.
I like it in French too.
I mean,
I
So
wouldn't.
nobody will understand, but
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I will a little. Well,
You
it's a
will?
long,
Okay,
long
good.
time ago French, but still, I
Good.
love the language.
okay. Okay, so this one. Sorry, I just need a little.
Yeah, you need a
more.
little bit more light, right?
Yeah, because it's quite dark in the studio. Okay, so I hope I can talk in the microphone.
Put it down a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yes, if you put the
So,
microphone. Yes, exactly.
it's this one. Should I show it first? So this is my monster in English.
Right.
So in French is mon monstre à moi. Il était une fois une petite fille, sans choix et sans famille, aux 4 coins éparpillés, au vent mauvais de la tristesse. Le divorce est une ogresse qui dévore père et mère, sœur et frère. Elle ne voulut pas déranger, alors elle s'est inventée une amie sur qui compter. Une anorexie bien cachée dans son petit ventre rond de petite fille qui tournait plus rond. Cette amie était goulue. Elle a dévoré tout cru ses rondeurs poupines. Puis devenue monstre, elle s'est attaquée au reste, jusqu'à ce que la fille disparaisse. I always get emotional here. Jusqu'à la transparence. Et j'ai failli mourir. Elle est encore là, Lové en moi, un monstre quoi? Mon monstre à moi.
Wow. Okay. Well,
So it's the story of a girl that almost died from anorexia. So the poem, there's a moment where the little girl just disappears because she almost dies.
right.
And she found life again. And
So you have an English version of it,
yeah,
right?
I have an English. You want the English one?
Please.
Just
Yeah,
do
yeah,
the
yeah.
English
I
one.
want to
also,
understand this
yeah.
too.
Once upon a time in the world, a young girl without choice and family, the ill wind of mystery had them scattered all over. Divorce is an ogre, which devoured father and mother, sister and brother. She didn't want them to bother, so she invented a friend she could trust, anorexia. But hide it she must. In her little belly, it went round and round, crazy, unsound, and greedy. It devoured all her baby fat. Then, not stopping at that, it ate up the rest until disappearance. Right to translucence. And I almost died. It's still there, coiled inside, quiet monster, my monster.
Wow.
So this word was really the word from her in the interview. She actually talked about it that way, that it was, she still had the monster inside, but it was her monster, and then she could live with it.
Right. We're talking
So-
about truly deep, intimate taboos, personal taboos,
Yes,
right?
and as I said, we knew this girl for already a few years, so it
Yeah.
was a very
Yeah.
surprising story.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you
why does
imagine
it-
like all the things that we don't know about each
Yes.
other, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Well, why does it make you so
emotional.
emotional?
Because I found it really beautiful first that she shared that story. And when I wrote that poem, I had to cry a lot because I just could imagine this little girl, and she was so alone because of the divorce, and she didn't want to bother anyone, and then she just disappeared, and it's a way of disappearing, anorexia. And she's a beautiful, very talented creative. We really love her. She's it's anonymous, so I cannot say who she is, but she's
Yeah.
a very she has a lot of talent and a lot of love and a lot of joy, but she almost died.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found it very emotional.
It
yeah.
is. It is. Truly.
Not all stories are as intense. Some are a
Right,
little
right.
bit
Okay.
lighter. But
Okay. You
this
also have
one-
like happy stories in the book, right?
Yeah, we have stories that are a bit more fun and a bit more playful, and but there are some intense story because it goes on taboo. So taboo is also not usually the lightest
Right.
stories, but some are more intense than
But
others.
I realized there's a lot of emotion in that book too. Then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
We also, I actually recorded all the interviews. So I first interviewed them. And then after that, before we did the portraits with Jess, I interviewed them, recorded just before and just after.
Right.
And so we have all those voices. And when we did the launch, we also had their voices in the background that you could hear some of the things they said. Because there's a lot of nervousness before you do it. And after you've done it, there's a lot of joy and
Yeah.
emotion
Yeah.
and happiness.
Okay, cool. Let's go to a song real quick, and when we come back after the news, maybe we can talk about a little bit more about the vulva.
De vulva.
Is that possible? Yeah.
We can arrange that.
All right, let's do that. Je luistert naar Audible, dat 5 handen gaat helemaal stuk hier in de studio. Wat ook gewoon erbij hoort, lekker lachen. Love on Hair. Love on Air, niet hair, air.